AccuWeather meteorologist Pati Darak is here with more information on this deadly but often forgotten hurricane element.
Thanks, Gary. For so long, the focus on hurricane safety was to get out of the way of the storm surge along the coast and to prepare for winds here in the Triangle. Unfortunately, numerous fatalities are occurring inland where people are needlessly putting themselves at risk trying to overpower floodwaters. North Carolinians are well aware of the routine in a tropical weather situation. Flee from storm surge, board up to prepare for high winds. We know how to survive through the actual storm, but it's what happens after the storm. We try to assess the damage, we try to help others, but in doing this, we put ourselves at risk by driving through floodwaters.
Is not ponding or standing of water. It's not something that's serene or peaceful. It's flowing, it's moving, and the road in all likelihood will not be there. The bridge will not be there. It's just not safe enough to attempt in any situation in any vehicle.
Joel Klein is a lead forecaster at the National Weather Service in Raleigh. He's among those who study inland flooding, and an unfortunate part of that research includes those numbers you heard, the numbers of people who have died while attempting to help others or flee through flooded areas. He says don't assume that danger's just around the eye of a powerful hurricane.
A major point that people need to understand is this inland flooding is not a function whatsoever of the intensity of the storm. That's to say, you can get as much or more rainfall, and there have been more deaths in North Carolina associated with remnants of tropical depressions, of tropical storms, than there were from hurricanes that hit our coast.
Klein also emphasizes that storms from the Gulf of Mexico are a particular concern for residents west of a line from Durham to Fayetteville.
You live west of a line from Durham to Fayetteville, you need to turn your attention to, oh, I hear a hurricane is hitting Panama City tonight. Oh, I hear one's in Mobile Bay. Because you wait a couple of days and you're going to have that inland flooding thing that is causing all these deaths from people driving and walking into it.
With the amount of rescues numbering well over 1,000, it's plain to see that new thinking must be geared to associating hurricanes with inland flooding.
And people are going to be curious. And they're going to be curious and they're going to go down to that stream and they're going to think what they're standing on is safe and it's not. Or they'll go down there at night where they can't see so well. And I mean, these are good people. They're just curious or making a bad decision that they're going to be their last decision. It's that serious.
Here's another piece of food for thought. All those rescues performed did not come cheaply. According to 1999 numbers, North Carolina ranks 3rd in the nation in disaster spending on hurricanes, and it has to come from somewhere, something to keep in mind when making a decision about crossing floodwaters. Gary?
While the storm didn't present a direct threat, it did manage to kick up the surf along the beaches, setting up a deadly scenario. AccuWeather meteorologist Pati Darak is here to explain how a hurricane's fatal forces extend well beyond its eye.
Thanks, Gary. During the hurricane season, the average person doesn't really pay attention to the storm until it's headed for their back door. The pressure and force of a hurricane can churn the ocean and begin to pose a threat days ahead of time by increasing wave activity and rip currents. What this means to you is you need to take more precautions for a day on the beach.
Rip currents are usually quite easy to see when you're up on a cliff or somewhere high above the water. Say you're up in a motel room looking down on the beach. You can see dirty water, kind of plumes of dirty water. They look kind of like a little mushroom cloud that extend out into the surf. If you're down standing on the beach, you may not see evidence of dirty water. Sometimes the rip currents the waves will be a little smaller where the rip currents, the current that's going out kind of knocks the waves down.
Of course, when you're out having a good time, you're less likely to check the radio or the TV for surf conditions. You're more likely to go by what you see. Well, what you need to see are these signs. These signs tell you what you need to know to survive through a riptide situation. Taking chances ended up with tragedy last September. 2 people drowned within 2 hours of one another on the same day in rip current conditions. Hurricane Florence was 383 miles from the North Carolina coast. Curry Beach Police Chief Dennis Cooper says his department employs everything possible to get the word out about surf safety, especially for the benefit of newcomers.
The local folks here understand and know what's going on, but maybe the folks that are not from here that come here to vacation may not know.
Well, here's something to know. While rip currents are strong, they're also very narrow. Just swim parallel to the shore until you're out of it, and then you should be able to easily make it back to shore. There are also flags posted daily through Labor Day to tell you of the day's conditions. Remember, though, it's up to you to use good judgment when venturing into the water. Gary?